Pedicab drivers in New York are now starting to take some heat because they are tricking tourists and getting them to do some really expensive rides. There's a pedicab driver named Savas Avci, who is licensed by the city's Department of Consumer Affairs. It's been confirmed that he is a registered pedicab driver, and he tricked a tourist into paying $442 for a 12-minute ride. Now, how did this happen? Well, you have to have a posted rate, I guess is the law, and you have to confirm the rate in writing or point to something before the ride starts to give the tourist or the rider an opportunity to accept or decline that price. Now, his posted rate was $1 a block. Seems pretty reasonable. You want to go 10 blocks? It's $10. Perfect. Except that he had in very, very small print on his rate card something that says it's a minimum of $100 per person, and he gave 4 people rides. So therefore you had a $400 minimum charge for those 4 people, plus the cost of the blocks, plus taxes. Pretty outrageous.
Yeah, that's pretty hefty.
Apparently this isn't the only guy who is guilty of doing this. There have been a number of these charges that have been alleged. The city does allow pedicab drivers to charge whatever they want, but they have to post the price on the rate card. The thing is, if you have a piece of paper this big with your per block rate, and then in tiny print at the bottom it says, note, minimum $100, well, is it buyer beware? Is it the responsibility of the buyer to take out a magnifying glass and to look very, very closely? Or do you have to have some reasonable standard here?
Yeah. I mean, is this a dishonest practice, and would it be ruled so in a court?
I don't actually use the pedicabs anyway because it makes me feel guilty. The idea of me sitting there and some guy, particularly in the heat, pedaling around to drive me around. I just don't use them.
Yeah. Well, I just use the subway.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, would you actually, what if this happened to you? Somehow you wanted to go 3 blocks, and then the guy says, well, that's going to be $105.
Number one, I would just never take a pedicab for 3 blocks. I mean, let's come up with a more realistic scenario.
What if
I've got to get
let's
across.
say you broke your toe, you can't really walk that well. You have no choice.
Right.
So what would you do?
If I had broken my toe and it was an emergency, then maybe I would say, listen, who am I to turn this down? But why don't I just get into a cab? I don't get.
Damn it, David. This is a hypothetical situation. We're not talking about whether or not you would actually use one. We're saying what happened if you did and you got charged an extremely large fee for it.
So you're saying if a whole number of things happened which are completely unrealistic and unlikely based on my preferences, and I ended up in a situation where I was billed, what would I do?
Yes.
Okay, since we're in the realm of fantasy, I wouldn't pay it. I'd say I have no money on me. You're going to have to bill me, and then I would fight it. I don't know.
All right. Well, what should these people have done when they were charged $442?
You know, it says tourists. We don't know where the tourists were from. Maybe their English wasn't even very good. Who knows what confusion could have been going on.
And they had this much cash on them?
I think you can use credit cards with the pedicabs.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're advanced.
Huh.
Do you feel guilty with pedicabs, Natan, or are you okay with someone pedaling you around?
Well, it seems to me like a lot of people use the pedicabs so they don't feel guilty about using regular transportation that emits greenhouse gases.
Oh,
But,
okay.
But I personally wouldn't use it just for the same reason as you. It would just be kind of awkward. Like, I might as well just pedal myself and rent a bicycle or something.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine a situation in which I would use one.